In a world where podcasts and radio just isn't the same anymore, well, fear no more, because Squirrely and The Bean are here to save your day. So please sit back, relax, and enjoy the smooth sounding voices of the Squirrely and The Bean podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our sweet podcast. Thank you for joining us for episode 2 of Squirrely and The Bean. As you know, I'm The Bean.
And I'm Squirrel.
All right. So this episode, we're going to get more in depth. I know on the first episode, we talked a lot about sports. And towards the end, we kind of talked about how we came to. But this episode is going to be more in depth of how Squirrely and The Bean became. Take it away.
Okay, so, we'll start back quite a long time ago. This is 2007. I had just broken my leg in high school, and my mom bought me an Xbox 360. So I got the Xbox 360, and I had no idea what games to buy. The only games that I were ever used to playing was Need for Speed on PlayStation, and some games obviously, and games that you didn't require internet for, because I wasn't really into internet gaming. So I get the Xbox, and one of my best friends, Adam, suggested that I play Call of Duty. Well, at the time, I was wanting to play Halo, but I took his advice. And
another great game.
Yep. I got Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. And I knew no one on that game. The only person I ever really played with was my friend Adam. But as I started to progress on the game, I started to play it a lot more than he ever did. So I had no one to play with. So a few months after I started playing it, I came in contact with this person named Tyler. His Xbox gamer tag that he went by was Mr. Negativity 17.
No. He first started off as a Iron Eagle.
Correct. Iron Eagle, then he went to Mr. Negativity.
Yeah.
So I played, we were in a lobby, and the details of how I met him are kind of foggy at this point, but he was in this clan called CMF. We won't get into what CMF stood for because it's a little inappropriate for this podcast, but
I'm sure they could put two and two together.
Yeah.
What CMF stands for.
Yeah.
I mean, we were teenagers, so come on, think.
Yep, exactly. So he asked me if I wanted to join this clan, and at the time I didn't know what a clan was. So I was like, "Okay, what's that all about?" He's like, "Well, it's a group of people that play together. They do this thing called Game Battles. Game Battles was a website where you could play against other clans and possibly win prize money, or most of the time it was just for bragging rights and leaderboard stats."
It was a terrible website, by the way. It was awful.
Yes, it was. So I was like, sure, why not? So he invited me to the clan, and there was sort of a process, an initiation process, if you will. What you had to do was, it was you versus 4 or 5 other guys in a private lobby, and you had to get a certain amount of kills to be entered into the clan. Well, I wasn't bad at the game, but I wasn't like this superstar. Mm-hmm. But I somehow managed to get the amount of kills that I needed.
So we'll put it like this: it was a 1v5, so it was you versus 5 other people.
Exactly.
And a tiny little map, and these 5 people already had like their pre-spawn down.
Yeah,
and
they knew exactly what to do.
Hard as all crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get into this clan, and a few weeks go by. I'm playing with a lot of people that I've never even met before, just enjoying the game. One day we get into a lobby, and I remember the exact map that I met Ralph. The map was called District. And I just heard I heard him in the lobby. I forget what he was talking about. But his gamer tag at the time was Caboose 50X.
Caboose 50. Yep.
And,
I went by Caboose because that was an old football name.
I kept sort of harassing him, asking him if he wanted to go to Red Lobster with me, which, if you're just someone and you hear someone ask you if you wanted to go to Red Lobster with them, I'm not sure how many people would take that, but Ralph was very inviting. He really wanted to go to Red Lobster. I think we both have a mutual love.
Yeah, for Red Lobster. So
Yeah.
I will say this right now. I was creeped out, but because I wanted to be in that clan so bad, I was kind of rolling with the punches. Because I was just like,
Yeah.
I need to be in this clan.
You gotta do what you gotta
I need
do,
to
man.
be in this. Yeah. So it's like, here's this little guy, Canadian boy. Hey man, you want to go to Red Lobster with me? Yeah, and then after you can come to my house. I'm like, oh, okay. Sure. Whatever you say, man.
So we started talking a little bit more, and as Ralph had just mentioned, he wanted to be in the clan. So he kind of joined our circle of friends, me, Tyler, and a couple of the other guys that we played with, Grassatron, and there was a couple others. But
Psycho, Chesty Cat.
Yep, Chesty Cat. Yep, and our friendship kind of grew from there. Me and Ralph started playing a lot more than Tyler and I would, and we both loved Call of Duty, so we would just every day I'd come home from school, he'd come home from school, we'd play Call of Duty. That's what we did. My summers were filled with Call of Duty, and I'm not ashamed of it. I've met Ralph, I met some other good people. So
we have met a lot. I mean, it wasn't just gaming. Like, we didn't sit there. There's a lot of times we even joined the lobby and just talked to each other, just for
exactly.
Shooting the giggles.
Yep.
We would just sit there in the lobby, not even do anything.
Yeah, and then they came out with private parties, which was pretty sick.
Which was key.
Yeah,
Especially
that was key.
For a game mode that we played, Search and Destroy.
Oh yeah, being able after you've died and being able to tell your alive teammates where the people are that killed you. That is awesome.
It was amazing. But anyways, as we fast forward through time, like Steven was saying, Squirrely was saying, I should say. I'm sorry. As he was saying, our friendship just grew from there. I think every time Call of Duty got released, we were messaging each other. Hey man, you getting this? We going to the midnight launch? We gonna do what? An all nighter, especially on double XP.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, as we fast forward, of course, everyone else starts parting ways. The clan fell apart. And it was really me and Squirrely who kept in contact with each other.
And we formed a couple of our own clans over the period of time.
Yes. But then, as we formed those couple of clans, we kind of realized clans, just aren't for us anymore. We lost. Mr. Negativity stayed with us the whole way. Then we decided to switch to the PlayStation world.
He still plays.
Does he still play? I don't know.
Yes. Yep, he does.
But we decided to switch to the PlayStation world. Like, at this point, it was pretty much Squirrely became family, and like we all accepted it. There was actually a point in time where he moved down to the States.
Yeah, that was good times, man.
I think you were only down here for what, 2 years?
It felt like a very short period of time. I think because I had so much fun while I was down there.
Yeah, so I didn't believe him at first when he was like, "Oh, I'm coming to the States," because at first we were joking around because at the time I was married to my wife. I still am. We still are. I don't know why I said it like that.
She's gonna kill you.
I know she's gonna kill me. But yeah, I mean, I just got my own place at this point, and it was going on. I think it was like 2010, 2011. We were shooting, just going back and forth, and he was like, "Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna come down there and live with you guys." And me, I'm like, "All right, yeah, whatever. Oh, yeah, sure, by all means, yeah, you could stay on my couch, man." So, I get one day while I was at work, I get a random message from him saying, "Hey, are you gonna be off this day?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure. Yeah, why?" And he sends me a picture of his prepaid plane ticket, one way to Boston International. No, it was to Providence.
It was Providence, yep.
It was Providence. It was a one-way ticket to Providence from Canada. And I'm like, oh my God.
What have I gotten myself into?
I'm like, nah, this is all a joke. You know, he photoshopped this. I don't even think Photoshop was a thing back then. But I was like, nah, he's fake. So he's like, yeah, man, do you think you can come pick me up at the airport at this time? And I'm like, this is an absolute joke. There's no way this kid's coming here to live. And so when I got home, I told Angelina, I'm like, hey, so you know how I talked to Squirrel, right? Yeah. You know how we were joking around about him living with us, right? Oh, yeah. Well, he actually bought a plane ticket. So she started freaking out. And at the time, we had a newborn daughter. Well, actually, no, she was like 1 at the time. Yeah, she was 1. So yeah, it was 2010. No, it was like 20. And then here he comes.
Yeah.
We go up to Providence, and here's this Canadian boy coming off the escalator, and it's like, holy crap, it's really happening.
It wasn't a joke.
It was not a joke, and we're like,
Yeah.
woo, what's up, man? But it wasn't like.
This was at a period in my life. This is at a period in my life where I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had no real obligations. I didn't have a job. My mom had paid for my plane ticket. I think mostly because she was just trying to see if I was going to, do something with my life. So when she finally, it didn't take much convincing. I think maybe she wanted to get rid of me or something.
Get out of my house, please. Please go.
Exactly. So she bought the tickets for me, and as Ralph had said there, I sent him a message, got on a plane, one-way ticket. I didn't know what was going to happen. Went down there. I think I was there for probably 2 weeks, a week and a half or something like that. And I went back to Canada because there's some issues as far as how long you're allowed to stay somewhere.
Yeah, you had a visa,
stay
visa
out of
or
country.
something like that. I forgot what it was.
Well, I didn't have a visa. I didn't get one of those. So I went down, stayed with him for two weeks, and then I came back, and I think I was only back home for not very long at all.
No, not even.
Yeah.
I
It wasn't.
think it was like a week.
Yeah, and then went back down
Yeah.
again. And I think it was this time when this was like an extended period of stay.
I think it
for
was
sure.
a year because you got a job working for Stop and Shop with us.
Exactly, yep. And the only reason that was possible to happen, I used to live in South Carolina when I was a young kid. I lived in South Carolina for 6 years. And while I was in South Carolina, my family had moved down there. In order to go to school in the States, you need a social security number. So my mom got me a social security number. And of course, to get a job in the States, you need a social security number. So I was very fortunate to have one of those. So I started working where Ralph had worked at the Stop and Shop. And I formed a good friendship there with a guy named Art. And working in the frozen department. Yep. And, taking extended lunch breaks and going getting scorpion bowls at the Chinese food restaurant.
And I think at this time, I actually left Stop and Shop at this time.
Completely skip. Yeah, and for some reason I kept working there. Who knows why that happened?
No clue.
And I really enjoyed my time down there. Ralph and his family were great. Rhode Island was a very beautiful place where he was staying at the time, Newport, Rhode Island, right on the coast. There was so much to see.
But it was
a lot of nice houses.
Such a small town.
Yeah.
I mean, for you,
I grew up in a small town, so it was nothing.
But I mean, for
nothing
you,
different
because
for
you're
me.
a visitor. I mean, it was excellent. For me, for someone who lived there, it was awful.
Yeah. Well, you were so used to it. Yeah. And then things kind of, I didn't intend on living down there forever. Things kind of fell apart, and I eventually came back to Canada. But me and Ralph have sort of our friendship has, yeah, exactly. Like we've never not talked. We still play video games. We still talk almost every day. You know, we formed this podcast because it's something that we enjoy doing. Me and him both enjoy talking.
So nowadays we get on Minecraft. So I mean, adults playing Minecraft, whatever. It's supposed to be for kids. No, we still play Minecraft every now and again. We actually beat the Ender Dragon finally.
Yes. I was just gonna say that. After how many years we've been playing it since that game came out, we've never beat the dragon. It took us until this long. Like I'm 28 now.
Golly. So it literally took one day. I don't even think we were playing. We just had Minecraft up, and we were just talking back and forth. And I think it was actually Angelina who said that we needed to do our own show. Like she was the one who was like, man, all you guys do is talk. Might as well just get your own show going. And I guess she didn't realize, like, oh crap, they're actually gonna do it.
She didn't know what she got herself into
until I started talking to her, and she finally was like, fine, buy the mic, whatever.
Yep.
I mean, rather than us just sitting there talking on the game, now we get to sit here and talk and make sweet shows for you guys.
Precisely. And it's something that I think was a great idea coming from Angelina and Ralph. It's given us something to sort of fill our time with.
I mean, we're hoping to produce at least 2 shows for you guys every week. I know we work different schedules, so we apologize in advance if we can't get those 2 shows out. I mean, the one show would be the best, but we're trying to at least limit each show to a half an hour. This way, it's kind of like easing into a swimming pool. You know, some kids dive, feet first, head first, and some kids just take it one step at a time. So we're just gonna take it one step at a time, do a half an hour show here and there. If you guys really start liking it and want more from us, by all means, but we'll start recording more. I'm sure, Squirrely wouldn't mind, but we'll just give you guys in advance that we do work opposite schedules. He works nights, I work days, and I think we actually are completely on rotating shifts. So usually when I'm off, he's working, and when I'm working, he's off.
Yeah, there's not a very many amount of days through the week where we have time that we can really record something, and then when we do have time, it's like, what's our family doing, right? Like, if your family's, at home or whatever. And
if you guys, heard to the last episode, it was, I'm a father of 3 kids. I got a 9 month, 9 months? Well, actually, yeah, he will be 9 months here soon. A 5-year-old who's about to be 6, and then a 9-year-old. So, trying to find a nice, quiet place, all you parents out there can relate, is completely hard. And on top of it, I got 2 yippy dogs. So, the fact that they have yet barked yet, I'm kind of happy. But $20 says if I make any type of knocking sounds or noise, that it's gonna be a wrap.
I was just gonna say knock on wood because they haven't barked yet, but don't knock on anything because they'll probably
I didn't
bark.
plan on it. I was going to. I was really about to.
So I hope this was a informative podcast for some of the people who may not know our backstory or know much about us. Like Ralph had said there, the episodes are going to be about a half hour long because you don't want to have an episode that's an hour or more long. People kind of lose interest, and I know myself, it's hard to listen to something that's that long because that's time you've taken out of your day. I know a lot of people who listen to podcasts, what they'll do is they'll download the podcast and listen to it on a road trip, which, hey, if there's people that listen to us and would want to do something like that, we can record longer podcasts for sure. I could talk for days.
We can keep going on. I know we're closing in on our little mark, but even with there's a lot more to come with this podcast. Like we said in the end of our first video, we are in the works with getting artwork done. We're not too keen on merchandise just yet. I mean, we do have a shirt on our Facebook page. By all means, if you have yet.
It's more for just sort of like a donation. You're not just giving your money away. You are getting something in return, but it's also helping us out at the same time.
And by all means, you can go to our Facebook website. Website, I should say. We are on Facebook. All right. Squirrely and The Bean podcast. That's
where you can find us all day, every day.
We will try to post. I mean, we don't have someone running our business for us. So the Facebook, to get to our Facebook is actually just facebook.com/Squirrel and Bean. Very, very
easy.
I think even if you type in Facebook on the little search bar, you can just type in Squirrely and The Bean podcast, and it would automatically generate.
There's only one in the world.
As far as we know. I mean, we did some in-depth research on this stuff to make sure. Because at first we were going to somehow incorporate Kool-Aid Man, because that was my gamer tag for a while. And then we kind of was like, well, copyright. I don't know if we can use Kool-Aid Man by any chance.
I guess we could have did Caboose, but Caboose is kind of dead
Caboose
now.
Is dead and gone. That's the Xbox days.
Yeah.
But,
well, we really appreciate anyone who listened to this podcast today. If you have any further suggestions for things that you'd like to hear, maybe more information about us, our lives, anything you want to hear, just contact us through our Facebook page. Any suggestions would be greatly appreciated.
For now, I think we're gonna sign on off before one of my kiddos wake ups or anything like that. So, from all of us here at Squirrely and The Bean podcast, we really thank you and appreciate you guys for listening. Stay tuned for more. Y'all have a good one.
Have a great day. Bye.
Oh, Squirrely and The Bean is among the smoothest sounding podcasts I've ever heard. That's right. It's absolutely fantastic.